Jesus freak. Oh man.
What will people
I honestly
do
forgot
when
what I
they
was gonna
find out
say.
it's true? Ow, ow, ow. I don't really care.
Akira probably doesn't remember that song because she was drunk during it. She was falling down the stairs.
Yeah, I was falling down the stairs, and I'm honestly kind of blanking on that question.
What are you
All I know is
talking
Jesus
about?
Freak, but that
Because that's Toby Mac. Jesus.
No,
freak.
it's not.
It was
it's
like
not. It's DC Talk.
he was in DC Talk. And then he went solo.
yeah, he was.
What?
So it was Toby Mac.
Yeah.
Wait,
What
what?
will people
Yes,
think
he's
when
old.
they
He's
hear
like,
that I'm a
he's like,
yes,
is
look
he
it up.
60? He's old. He's like 50 or 60.
Oh my gosh.
There's no way.
That literally just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Toby Mac was
Or
in DC
he was
Talk?
either
He's
in
the
it.
Christian Justin
Hold on.
Timberlake.
Oh my
He
gosh.
kind of is.
Wait, yeah, it's the three guys. It's Michael Tate, Toby Mac, and someone else.
You guys. My
Oh,
mind
was
is
formed out of
blown.
Liberty. That's interesting.
I do know that he went to Liberty. I did know that. Okay.
Who was the
All
third?
right. Well, I didn't see that coming.
Well, you're welcome.
And I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think I can recover.
I'm not
Kevin
sure.
Max.
How do I feel about that? This might be worse than the pregnancy.
Hey, that's progress.
Wait, you didn't know that?
It's
That's
moving up.
progress. I actually think I still have the CD in
Oh
my home.
gosh. That's insane to
So, are you guys jealous now that I did go to a Toby Mac concert and fell down the steps?
No, I've already been to like 800 Toby Mac concerts. That doesn't make your story any cooler.
Yeah, all you have to do is pay $10 to go to Winter.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Win.
Winter Jam from like
Yeah.
2000,
Everybody
5 to
went to
2015.
freaking Winter Jam.
Hey, it's Casey,
I'm Meredith.
and this is Kiera.
and we're three best friends in a long-distance relationship.
We've learned some valuable lessons along the way over the last 10 years of being friends.
Now let's get to it because Hey guys, welcome back to It's Been Forever. I'm Meredith.
I'm Kiera.
And I'm Casey.
And this episode is kind of a little different. It's kind of a tone shift. Casey, do you want to explain this episode a little bit?
Yeah. So what you guys are about to hear in the beginning of this episode is a conversation we really never intended on having. So basically I was having kind of a crappy day at work, and the weight of reality was kind of sinking in on me, and I kind of had a little bit of a meltdown. I think is the best way we can describe it, you guys. Was a meltdown.
A little bit.
And I was essentially you're going to hear a lot of tears on my end, and it's a conversation about every bit of insecurity that you can have as a woman in terms of pregnancy and the radical changes that happen not only within your body but your life and the reality you've ever known, which is just you and taking care of yourself in life. And so when I say this is a conversation we never intended on having, as soon as I log into the network that we use the podcast or that we record the podcast on, we just hit record and we don't even think about it. And I was like, guys, I don't know if I can even record tonight. And this is a genuine conversation you hear between the three of us. And so we really felt like this is a conversation that needs to be heard by any woman out there. And I think even though a majority of this is going to deal with pregnancy, I think there's so much of it that resonates with many feelings that we have as women of feeling not enough, etc. You'll hear as we listen. But I do also want to give a disclaimer. Like I said, I'm crying. I am also so stuffed up because I was crying in the beginning of this, and I also find myself sick today, and so I also sound stuffed up. So this is entirely like So at this point, we are
Casey will
recording.
sound the exact
I will
same.
sound the same,
Yeah.
but it is separate.
This
So
was
we-
back in like October.
Yes,
yeah.
we were recording this in October,
Yeah.
and it's February. What is it today? February 15th when we were recording this. So I just happened to sound like nasally on both days we recorded this. So I just and I occasionally have like a little bit of like snot going on, so I just want to apologize for that.
Oh my god.
So this is a drinking game. Every time you hear her go, take a shot.
Yeah, we passed out by the end.
Yeah, everyone would actually die. It's so gross.
That would actually be bad. No, I'm really excited that this is finally going out to the world because you get to hear three very different perspectives at this point. Both Meredith and Casey are pregnant. Obviously, I am not. So, like, you get to hear just like what it's like. I think just it's almost like we weren't recording. It was just like a regular old time. One of us is like going through something and we just need to chat about it. So you really get an intake into just kind of like being a fly on the wall in our conversation. But we really hope that this resonates with you, that you will take something from it. Hopefully something that you're like, oh, wow, I wasn't the only one that felt that way. Or, oh, wow, I need to be more mindful of something that I say or something that I do. You know, I think it can just go a wide variety of just different places. So we just hope that you enjoy it. It's not going to sound the same. We're not going to have our typical segments, but it's going to be really, really good. And we just invite you into the conversation, and we're excited that you get to hear about it.
Yeah. I like Casey or Kiera, what you said about 3 different experiences. Like at this time that we recorded this, no one knew that either of us were pregnant. We knew. Like Casey was probably like 8 weeks. I think I was like 12 maybe. But my husband and I, we were wanting to be pregnant. So this is something that we like were excited about and wanted, but it still was like, oh my gosh, I have no control over what's happening to my body. And Casey and Bryce were not at all expecting to get pregnant. And so it was a total whirlwind, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think I hope this resonates, whether you are like, this is your plan and you're hoping that this happens or not. It still is hard. There's still hard parts, and it's like, okay, like you don't have to feel guilty or feel shame for that. You're not a bad mom because of that.
Yeah.
So that's part of why we wanted to release this. We knew kind of at the time too, like, okay, this is good. Like we should release this at some point. But we kind of wanted to wait till, it's a little more settled. We're kind of feeling more settled into our pregnancies of like,
that's
like,
a good point.
like my baby's coming in less than 3 months. I feel way different now than I did then,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think from my perspective too, I can speak for those who, are just like have a relationship with someone who is pregnant. I think no matter who you are, you're going to have someone, whether it's a friend, family member, someone in your community. I think it opens up like my eyes too, to maybe not all so much the like roses and butterflies and like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, because I'll be honest, a lot of what you see typically, especially on social media, is all of the like the highs of people's lives. Obviously it's a highlight reel. So I think this just shows that like people really, for lack of better terms, like struggle behind the scenes. And I think that's part of being human. I think we even say this in the podcast, like that's just part of humanity. And it shows me how to and like invite those conversations in, and how to not just be like, oh my God, like maybe like overly excited about something when it's like, okay, this is hard, let's like walk through this together. Like how to be a friend in those moments rather than just like, I don't know, looking at someone's highlight reel, because that's not all life is. So it brings the humanity into it too, from my perspective, which I really like.
You will hear us at the end kind of reacting to this conversation after it's been a couple months, obviously, since October.
Forever.
And yeah, it's been forever.
And
we'll kind of just follow up on some of the things we talk about and say where we are today. So enjoy, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but
I'll
just say here it is.
I know this is new for
listening
us.
pleasure.
For your listening
For
pleasure.
listening pleasure.
Without further ado,
Without further ado, here's me weeping. I just want all of this to just like melt away, and I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to think about it. And I think I'm also just like wanting peace about like what to do. And I was talking to a friend today, like, I don't think I've fully like come to terms with the fact that I'm having a child, and I think I'm just being really selfish, and this is not what I wanted. Like, if I'm being completely honest, and I know that's like bad, but like, and people are excited for me, and I'm just like, I'm not there. I'm not excited. Like, parts of me are, but I'm also like, this wasn't right. Like, this wasn't when it was supposed to happen. And I feel guilty because I'm like, I want to receive this child into the world as an exciting thing. And I'm just not that excited.
Yeah.
That's
it's a real thing to be mourning. It's okay to mourn the end of this stage of life. Like, you don't need to feel guilty about that, because it's real. Like, everything's going to change. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad mom, or that doesn't mean that you don't love this child. That just means that you're human and you had a great life before, and it's scary to think about what's next. Yeah. And that's okay.
Well, especially if you are like a planner and you do like to like be prepared for something. And if you're like, okay, like this would have been different if like we knew that we were trying for this time or whatever. And like, if you're like, okay, like this is not what I planned. And sometimes like when things don't go as like mentally as planned, at least I'm like, I like to organize my thoughts in my head and know all the details. And when there's like an unknown or like a something to mess up that thought, and obviously I can't speak to the pregnancy part, but just like that aspect, and that's a huge like obviously like life change and change of fate, like life phase. So if you're weren't expecting that in that regard or at that time, like I think that is a like totally like real and valid feeling.
Yeah, it's valid, right? And I've rationalized this in my head, but at the end of the day, it's like, when do I start to get excited? Like, I'm just waiting still to, I don't know. I just feel it's just guilt.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe you won't be in that frame of mind until a long time or really close to birth.
Here.
And if that is the case, I think that's okay. I think maybe don't put like a time or just like maybe by month 1 or month 2 or 3, you know, like take the time frame off of it. And because in due time,
that's good key.
I do believe that it will come, but I don't think there's like it has to be at this time.
And the maternal instinct will like kick in, you know. Yeah,
just pray for me for that.
How does Bryce feel? Does he feel the same?
I think,
and
I think like that's hard too. Sorry, I'm disgusting. That's hard too, because I know like we're both kind of at the same place where we're like, take it. And so it's hard when like we're both not there. And like he's I don't know. Like he's like trying to be excited for me, and I'm trying to be excited for him, but it's like both not real.
Yeah.
And then I feel bad because I know the way that I think and the emotions that I feel and how I treat my body during this time also affects the baby. Like, everything's all connected. So I'm like, okay, well then I need to get in a better mood, and I need to support the baby and all of these things, and I need to be praying for this child, and I need to be thanking God for this child, and I need to you know, all of these things, and I'm just like this big loop of just like, but at the end I'm like, why? But, and I know someday I'm gonna look at that child and I'm like, wow, I can't even believe I ever thought this, but like, I'm just not there yet. And I know there's a reason why this timing is happening now. And I'm just, and I mean, you guys know I've felt about just like body stuff. And that's a whole other part of it. It's like things are already changing and getting different. And I'm so scared that I'm going to completely hate the way that I look already more than I already hate it. And then I'm going to like resent this process, and I don't have that mindset where people are like, yeah, but I'm proud of my body and what it did for me. It's like, I have struggled so hard for so many years, and it's hard to like to just turn that off. It's not a switch. I wish it was.
No,
I wish it was so bad.
no.
And like, you know, all the right answers, like the things that you're saying of like, I know that I'll be happy one day, and I know that like this is amazing what my body's doing, but at the end of the day you feel how you feel, you know.
I don't want to feel like I have to get to that point even too, to like constantly validate myself. Because I don't want to, because I think that side can be toxic as well, where you're just constantly like, look what I did, look what I did, I'm so proud of myself, my body, like I did this, I did this, and it's a partnership between you and the spirit to work together to make this miracle happen. And it's just it's just I have to take that component out of it, and it's just like a disease in my mind that I just can't get rid of, and it can be suppressed, and it can get smaller. And the hardest part is even yet to come. And the moment that that baby comes out, your body doesn't change right away. It takes a long time. And I've heard this, especially working in a gym setting, hearing, you know, moms come in like, I had a baby a couple months ago and it's been really hard, or moms like, I've had babies like 4 years ago and I don't feel the same and I don't recognize myself, and I can sympathize with them. But it's never been me, and so it's easy to talk to somebody, tell them all the right things, because I work in a gym. I literally know the right things. I know all the things you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, it was always about someone else, and it wasn't about me. And now it's reality, and now it's something that I have to. It's something that I have to experience personally, and I'm so scared that I'm just going to fall down this rabbit hole of just that place of that I can't crawl out of, and that it's all consuming. And that scares me big time, because I don't have time to feel that way. When you have a baby, you don't have time for that.
But also, I mean, sure, but I mean, to the both of you, like, you guys have never been in this stage of life before, so I think would be good to like give yourself some grace of like, you've never woken up and this day and been this far along, tomorrow been this age this far along. Like, give yourself some grace to like feel all of the things, because you really have never, your body hasn't been changed, it hasn't been growing life inside of you ever. And like, I don't even know all the things that the freaking female body does. So I can't, like I said, I can't speak to those things. American.
It's like, wild. It's stupid.
What I hear and what things I'm going to learn from you, like, every day is different. And I think that is, like, it probably sounds so cheesy and like maybe you don't want to hear this, but I think it is good to give yourself grace for all of those like new changing things. Like, I always think too, when I mean, even when I look at photos of myself when I was like 16 and in the prime of softball, I'm like, I was so this way and that way, but I'm like, that was when I was 16, and I am just not that way, like, physically anymore, and I'm not doing the things that I was doing. And so you're gonna be a 28-year-old almost 28-year-old mom. Like that is like a new phase of life that your body hasn't grown into yet. So it's almost like growing into that, like, yes, you're physically growing someone, but like also growing into something that a new body. And I think that's really uncomfortable. Like it seems like it would be really uncomfortable, but like give yourself some grace for like being okay with that sadness, because I think like we fluctuate, especially women fluctuate so much, but I can only imagine the like extremities that it goes to when you are in, and like, yes, that goes on for like months and months and months, and it just continues to grow, and there will be an ending of that to that phase, and then like something else will come. So it's like, I think give yourself grace to know that you've never done this before, and that's wild to me, even like to think like as a friend. I'm like, that is crazy. Even the like the little like, this is like a peanut, and then and like your body, like considering like daily,
the rapid rate of growth is like, no wonder we feel like this. No wonder we are exhausted. No wonder we feel like you know. And I think too, like, something I like have keep reminding myself is like, my body was meant to do this though. Like this isn't something that like is foreign to, maybe it's foreign to my body because it's never done this before, but that's what this body was created to do. You know, like to almost trust that, yeah, it maybe doesn't look great. Like I have so many, we talked about varicose veins before. My boobs have never been so veiny.
Show us.
Like, but no. but even that of like, no, but that's like what my body is meant to be doing at this point, you know? And that doesn't take away from like that I don't like that's how it looks or it's uncomfortable. But there's almost some comfort in that of like, okay, this isn't foreign. Like this isn't, I'm not an abnormality.
What I do,
like I'm not alone in this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What I do think,
that's okay.
What is so beautiful too about womanhood is because you can get the person, like I was listening to the What We Said podcast, and she was kind of saying that she's like doesn't like being pregnant. Like she's like she's on her second kid. She's like, honestly, I just wish I could skip to the birth, have the baby, pop him out, and like start living life like that, because she doesn't like being pregnant. There are some women that do love being pregnant. There's some women that maybe don't literally look like they gained any weight except for in their belly. There's some women that don't. Like there's such a like crazy spectrum, and like I think that's kind of a really cool thing of like beauty of womanhood, because honestly, when you're young, I feel like you're told one thing or you see one way because maybe a sibling, maybe someone in your church that you're close to, you see them like walk through pregnancy and birth and whatnot. But I think like even you sharing this, it's like, honestly, that's so real. And like, I think that there's so many women too that probably feel the same exact way out there. And there could be just like, you could love it, you could hate it. You can feel this way, you can feel that way. Polarizing feelings, but like kind of what you were saying, Mare, of like women like going through this like together is like kind of like that's a crazy thing. Like it's a crazy thing to create life in your body. And I like, yeah, I know that the feelings are valid, but like I feel a lot of like just like reassurance, like not as a pregnant person, like hearing someone being like, this is what I'm like afraid for. I feel like I value those kind of people more than ever. So if it just like right now is a testament, like what you're saying is actually an encouragement. It's not a discouragement. It's an encouragement to know that like you can feel this way and still have a life growing inside of you while feeling scared and anxious and afraid and like all of these thoughts. And I think like obviously there's beauty at that, but like for someone else to hear that, it's like that's actually what I love to hear, is hear something like real like that, because I think I would be probably in a like similar mental state. So like I know we can't press fast forward because God's timing is just like not our timing, but I think when months down the road, when it is when your babies are here, like I honestly am going to be so excited to hear, because it's going to change no matter what. I mean, maybe it won't be what you thought again, but like I'm going to be excited to see like what God does through like your own heart and mind, because I think maybe that's what he's trying to refine right now, is like your own like mental strength and view of your own self, because that's been a challenge. And so I'm excited to see what comes out of it. And again, I know it's like that's not where we're at now, but
and I get it, and
I know when that time comes.
I even wonder now. Sorry, I sound like a nasally like. Yay.
You sound so cute.
Yeah, it is kind of cute.
No, it's so cute.
I'm waiting for. I know
you're a cute crier.
You can actually like talk. You can actually talk while you cry. Not a lot of people can do that.
Sorry. So anyways,
what you said, Kira, about like refining your emotions and like your heart now. I am praying that the selfishness that I'm feeling and like this was not my timing, this was not my plan, all of those feelings are happening now, so that when I have this baby, I'm able to welcome this child into the world and be everything that I need to be for the baby, because that's what I think, that's what the baby deserves. If Bryce and I, obviously, whether we wanted to have this kid or not, we are having this child, and I need to be ready, because there's too many parents in the world or people who create a child and that just do not take that responsibility with any sort of weight. And that is not something that I ever want to do. And I never want to make my child's problem, who did not ask to be born into this world. That is my choice that I made. And I want to be ready to step up as a parent and provide and do what I need to for that child. And so I think the emotions and everything I'm feeling now, I have to process them. Because I think even if someone wants to have a kid, you could still probably feel this way. Like having that moment of like, oh crap, this is real. And
oh, totally. I had that had that vent session with my mom of like, what the heck? Like, are we ready for this? Like, yeah, we were trying, but like it actually happened, But she was like, God gives us 9 months for a reason. Like, you're not having the baby next week. Like 9 months is a long time. And like, I mean, even think about you and Bryce's relationship in the first 9 months. Yeah. Like that changed so much. Think about how you and your baby's relationship, like your feelings towards that will feel like it's such a long span of time that I think it is a gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Didn't
Sorry,
cut me off.
really
I'm glad that you hopped in, because it's very validating to know that's also how you felt, because I think every time we see like pregnancy announcements or all these things, it's always after like, yay, like we're so excited and we're moving, and like you never actually know how people feel about it, and like you always wonder, but no one talks about it. And so I just want to know that, like, or if we decide to do something with this conversation, like I want people to know that if you've ever felt like that, it's okay. And I guess it's normal. Yeah. Because when you're going through it, like I feel like I'm the only selfish mother in the world to ever exist and to get pregnant. And I don't want to say resent my child, but in some ways have that feeling of just like, what the heck? How are you developing? How are you forming? This is not what I wanted. Like, go. Like, not yet.
Talk to your sisters about it.
Well, I know I could talk to Cammie, because I've kind of talked to Cammie a little bit about it, just because, I mean, she got pregnant before she was married and in college, and it obviously ruined a lot of her plans. So, and I know that I'm sure she felt a lot of the same ways I did, but in other ways, she's so strong. I don't know, maybe it's like an older sibling thing where she's like, okay, this is what I have to do. And she just stepped up to the plate, you know, and got that done. And I can look back on it now, being 27 and scared out of my mind. She was 20. And having to grow up and take that, like, holy moly, like, good job, Cami. I don't know how you did it. Like,
to have a 7-year-old right now.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. No, like what the heck? That's insane. So her having to go through that and her just stepping up to the plate, like, good job. Because I'm like, whew, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. And you know, like I saw a meme once, I can't remember, it was like a tweet or something, and or maybe it was a video, and she was like scrolling through Instagram or something. She goes, oh, another teen pregnancy. And then it's like me realizing I'm actually 26 and like, oh, you meant to get pregnant. Like, oh, you're married.
Like, I'm a child bride. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, like you were probably
probably
trying.
Yeah. Instead of like, oh, another one bites into teen pregnancy. It's like, oh, wait, no, you probably meant to.
Another one bites the dust.
And I'm like, that's so funny. That's so true. Because I don't know. It's weird because, you know, I've noticed a lot of people like our age, like, are maybe just now starting to have kids, or maybe they haven't had kids yet and they're kind of waiting. And it's like, you got to see that trend a little bit. And it's scary to be one of the first ones to go, because I've never been the first to do something. I usually am a trailer, and I'm fine with that. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You wait till it's out of style. You wait till it's
You're setting the
not
trend
mainstream.
this time.
Yeah. And so I think another part of that is like, it's weird.
Funny.
It was so funny. Like, the point we're having this conversation right now, barely anyone knows. Justana, she sends me a picture of our volleyball team from college, and she goes, isn't this so funny? There's only like 3 babies from this group of girls out of a roster of 12.
Oh.
And at this point, she doesn't know that I'm pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's so crazy. And it's like, we're all like 26 or 27 at this point.
Yeah.
And the only reason why there was 3 is because one girl has 2 kids and another girl is pregnant.
Stop.
Or no.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe 4 babies. I don't know. The number is not very high in compared to the ratio of how many girls are on our team. And it's just like, it's like, typically I'm like, yeah, you're pregnant, you've already had a kid, or blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just like catch up. But it's like, I'm the one. Now people are going to look back at me and be like, yeah, she has a, can you believe that? Like, you remember her when she was in college? She's a freaking kid now. Like, those are the conversations that people are about to have. Like, wow, I wonder, like, I wonder
also, I think the conversations they're going to have about you are like, oh, that makes sense because it's Casey. And she's like, out of all of us, she's the most mature and responsible and like capable of caring for a child. But like, I think if people would say that, it would be like, I don't think it would be out of like a trash talking way. I think it'd be like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally know what you mean.
I want to give you like Maddie's number because this is all the same stuff that she was saying like 2 years ago. And then when I told them that I was pregnant, she texted me. It was like probably the sweetest text like response I've gotten from anyone about the pregnancy. It was just like, oh, what was it? I actually want to find it. It was something about like, get ready for the best thing that's ever happened to you. That was her text back. You know.
Yes. Please read it to me because those are the things that I need to hear right now.
I mean, she was in this exact same place. Like, oh yeah, this is it. It's right here. Get ready for the best thing ever. Like,
oh,
that's what she said. Which, like, 2 years ago, she was just finding out that she was pregnant.
Wouldn't have said
after
that.
getting married they celebrated their first anniversary with a 2-week-old baby.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
And her husband was like in law school. Like, it was like not, but
ideal.
Not ideal.
Merritt, let's document like the real pregnancy.
Yeah, seriously, that's our job.
Honestly, you need to, because I think people do need to hear
It ain't glamorous.
what it's
It
actually
kinda
like.
sucks.
And two different perspectives. You know, that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it too.
But both
Like I said,
perspectives
you
can
be
see
on,
like positives and negatives because there just are. Because it's just reality. I feel like I had this image of like what a wife was and what my role was. And that's like, I kind of hate to say it, but it's like housekeeping, like, you know, like keeping the house nice. Like
Yeah.
I love having supper ready when he walks in the door. Like I love doing that for him, and like he loves it. And so I love that it's like, oh, it smells great. Like the days that he walks in is like he always says it reeks in here, but it's like a good reek. Like when he walks in, and I like tonight I did cook supper. That was the first time I cooked in probably a month.
Oh,
Just because
cooking
I like
sucks right
also
now.
the smell.
Yeah,
The
cooking
smell
sucks.
like I'm surprised I even ate it
Yeah.
after I cooked it.
Yeah.
Like, because you know you smell something for too long and it's like no.
Mhm.
But even like, yeah, our house is still a wreck. Like, okay, there's laundry on the floor over here that's been folded since Friday, and it's not put away yet. You know, in the middle of our living room, like things like that. That's like I usually would have that done like right away, but I like can't.
Yeah.
Like I'm so like tired. I just feel like lazy.
Mhm.
You know. And so like
Yeah.
that and the cooking, I just feel like the other day I was like crying to him and I was like, don't leave me. Like he would never, and I'm not, that's not a genuine fear that I have. Like he's
Yeah.
amazing, but I just am like, I'm not like the caliber of wife that I have been. And I don't know when I'll be that again. And so, like, I need your help. Like you know, if you see a mess, help me.
You have a different hat on now. It's not
Yeah.
just wifey, you know, it's
Yeah.
something else.
It just, and I just have felt our relationship change in that of like how like we're figuring out how to like find that intimacy elsewhere. And it's hard, you know, we like our physical touch is like both of our love languages, but right now it's sure the hell is not mine.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
You know? So how do I like show him love? Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard.
Definitely something. I mean, it's funny because I can kind of speak from where my top love language is physical touch, and Bryce is that's his almost dead last. And so having to grapple with that. I mean, it's been 5 years of marriage, and I feel like we're kind of maybe starting to figure it out. Maybe we've been together for 9 years. Maybe we're starting to figure it out. And so having to learn how I can be fulfilled in other ways, and instead of looking to, okay, how can I get validation like elsewhere? Like, is like,
Sure.
And I think that is like one of the biggest threats of a marriage is, well, we can't connect this way. So what are we supposed to do? Like, how are you supposed to fulfill me? And then it can get a little bit selfish too, of just like,
sure. Yeah.
well, my cup's not full. So what do you expect me to do? Like, you want me to just like find it somewhere else? And so, I mean, I would really just, and I don't want you to feel bad about the way you're feeling. It's completely normal. And so, if anything, just explore other ways of connection, because that's the biggest thing. And through all of this, connection is, I found to just be so important. Like literally I could not be going through any of this without Bryce. I can't imagine single mothers.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. My heart is absolutely pouring out to you because wow.
To
like
not have any
every
support
morning,
in this.
No. And every morning Bryce is like, how are you? Like he greets me so selflessly and kindly in the morning. Did you sleep okay? Like all of those little, seems insignificant, but so important to me in the morning. I can't imagine not having that. And so, the funny thing about Bryce is he literally likes quality time. That's his top love language. So he's like, you can just sit there. And I'm like, oh, so you want me to just
How cute.
exist?
Just be?
Yeah,
just
that would be
breathe
great. I'm like,
and blink.
Just exist.
okay. Is this good for you? This is awesome. This is awesome. Just, I'm like, okay.
This is awesome. I mean, honestly, I think that's really cool to see, like, even years into a marriage, because obviously I've been a little quiet because I'm a single person, but like even understanding like love languages from your partner, like at the dating phase. I do, like, Colton is physical touch, but I'm like, all he really wants is when we're like at dinner or like watching a movie for his arm to be around me or whatever. Like, just like a touch point of contact is really all he needs. And like, for me, that's not what I love. I'm not really a physical touchy person, but what I want is like words of affirmation or like gifts.
Yeah.
Like, I feel very
I'm
selfish
the
saying
same
I want
way.
gifts,
It's okay.
but
Yep.
I don't want like money.
Like, oh, you saw this and thought of me? Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, like that would be like
Yes.
top tier if anyone, you know,
yes.
said that. I would be like,
Yes.
I'm in love with you. Thank
I
you.
love you.
Here's my
Take
heart.
everything I have.
Um everything I have. But like, I think just even in dating, like like beginning those like conversations of like whether it's love languages or really wherever your like communication lies, like I feel like probably going into marriage where you're at a year in and you're at 5 years in, like just like kind of expounding, because I always think like, well, once we get to this point, this is what it's going to look like. Once we get to this point, this is what it's going to look like. But almost every friend and both my parents have been like, well, we're still learning new things about each other now, and they've been married for like almost 30 years. And in a way, I'm like, that's very freeing, knowing that you're like, you're not bound by like years into a relationship. It's going to be an ever flowing understanding. And maybe in one season, it's going to look like this. Or maybe when you were, married right away and you were having sex all the time, and maybe now like it looks just a little different. Like, I think that's okay, like to
Yeah.
like ebb and flow. And I feel like that means that you honestly have a great relationship, because if it was all the same all the time, I think there'd be no room for like growth. There'd be no room for depth if it was at either a constant high or either a constant low, if it's like ever flowing and changing.
Totally.
With the seasons, I think that just goes to show that you have good communication, or that you know how to have those conversations for when another season comes. You can be like, okay, we can battle that now.
You nailed that.
We've been
Kira.
here before.
Like, absolutely nailed that. Because I was actually just talking to my mom a couple days ago, and we are both going through a study right now. It's called Rooted. It's like a 10-week series. And
I did that.
Oh, did you?
With my church,
Yeah. So Bryce and I are doing it right now.
I liked it a
And I was
lot.
telling my mom about it. Yeah. And she's actually doing it. She's a couple weeks ahead of me. But every week we just kind of like talk about like, oh, this is what we're doing this week. And she's and just kind of tells me what her experience was from that week. And I tell her like, as I'm going through that week, like what my experience is. And she was like, Case, I'm 62. And I'm still figuring out that I need to work on things, and I still need to change things, and I don't have everything figured out. Where you think, I'm 62. How much, like, I need to keep working on this. Like, when am I going to get better at this? I'm 62 years old. And I'm like, thank you, Mom, for saying that, because you feel like by the time you're a certain age or at a certain point in your marriage or a certain point in your relationship, it's like, shouldn't we have this nailed down by now? Like, aren't we at a point where, like, should we keep arguing about the same thing? Or should, like, how does this conversation keep coming around? And it's like, there's personal things that we deal with, and it's like, why can I not get over this? But it's just something that you struggle with. And it's like, it's an ongoing battle. And I think sometimes, like, I think in, like, Western culture, like, specifically in the US, we're like, well, I'm going to eventually beat this and I'm going to win. And then it no longer will be an issue because it's conquered. But rarely are things truly conquered in life where you no longer think about that issue at all.
Yeah.
Like, if I've ever struggled with something in my life, it didn't just disappear. I maybe got better at handling it, but it's not gone. And I think personally in a marriage, like, if there's something like temporarily distracts you and then that's not an issue for a while, it will be an issue because you haven't dealt with it, and it's dormant, and it will come back. And it doesn't matter if you've been married 30, my parents have been married like almost 45 years. And she's still telling me things like, yeah, your dad and I are still working on this. And I'm like, what? No, that isn't, like, to me, I'm like, wow, you guys have it all figured out. Like, you're my parents. Like, right? You're not like other people.
You're the model.
Yes. And she's like, yeah, we're still working on it and how to deal with each other when we're in this situation. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That is, and it's very freeing personally, because I'm like, okay, so I'm not a failure for struggling with this. Yeah. And it's going to be okay. And even though we're messed up and even though we keep making mistakes, we are still okay. Even in our mistakes and even in our mess ups, we're still okay because we can figure it out, but we have to work towards a solution. It has to be together. Yeah. Or whatever.
Well, I think too, the beauty of like this kind of space, like our podcast, to all talk about topics on like so many different scales, is like we're creating a space of like realness, and like how we're living right now is like that is our testimony in and of itself. Like that's kind of our reality. But I feel like for us, like growing up in a certain way, what was being shown was like this either picturesque way of life or this one way of like, you have to have the White House and the picket fence, and if you don't have that, then you've missed. Like somehow, like here's a mark that you have to reach, and if you don't do X, Y, and Z, whether it's in this order or it looks this way, then you're not actually reaching the mark. But I think that the beauty of like now where I'm at, just like mentally, I'm like, if I really remove all of those restrictions of those, like I can't be perfect, or like my life won't look, or even like I was talking to a friend tonight, I'm like, I thought I would be married by 22, like right outside of college. That's not my reality. Like, yes, I'm dating someone now as an almost, 28-year-old, like that, but like that's not my reality, and that was years and years and years ago. You know what I mean? But being like, okay, like how much more freeing is it to be like taking the bounds off of like what you thought your life would look like, because reality is when you're engaged, people are going to ask you a certain thing. When you're married, people are going to ask you a certain thing. When you're on your kid number 1, they're going to ask you a certain thing. Kid number 2, it's like people, I think, mean well, but sometimes it can feel like, okay, you're asking me all these things and I don't know the answer. Like when you are engaged, well, when are you going to get married? Maybe you don't know that. When you have kid number 1 and someone asks, when are you going to have kid number 2? I don't know yet. Like sometimes it feels like all of these worldly external pressures that make you feel like you are missing the mark. But I think there's so much beauty in maybe honestly not even pressuring people to answer these questions that you have about someone else, because let them live their life, honestly, because most of the time it doesn't concern you. And even I think it depends, like if you have a close relationship with the person, that's totally different. But especially someone passing by, I think a lot of times growing up, it was like a lot of superficial questions or like ways of life that's what I thought reality was. And now that I'm living certain things, I'm like, that's actually not the truth. And I think that's okay to be like, okay, no one's perfect. And like parents looking up to them, but realizing maybe they don't have X, Y, and Z figured out yet. I know. What a cool thing. Yeah. Because they also have so much life to live.
Something that we do is we ask those superficial questions, right? Because that's all we've heard. And so we think that's what we're supposed to ask, or like we don't actually know how to talk about other things because we haven't developed that side of conversation where we are like, everything has to be put into a category, and every stereo, like everything has to fit into some sort of category. And like, that's how we like rationalize everything in our mind. So it's like, if you're a parent, okay, you're a parent to how many? And when are you going to stop? Is this your last one? How come it's like, it's like, we're so into the fact that like we have to figure out this portion of it, but I don't think we know how to talk about individuals. I don't think we do a very good job of it. And I think you can consciously make that decision to not ask those questions anymore. Yeah. Like if you want to know something to talk about with another person, ask them how they are. Like actually ask. Don't be like, hey, how's it going? How have you been lately? Yeah. That's not so deep. Yeah. That somebody, maybe feels extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. If they say like, oh, I'm fine. Like I've had conversations with, at church is really good at this of like, he'll say, hey Meredith, like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. How are you? And then he'll say like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, parenting is really hard right now, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll say again, so how are you? Like, he'll like go real, get real, and then ask you again, like, okay, so how are you?
Change the tone a little.
And then you can be like, yeah, this is not a great week. Like, yeah, I think being real yourself opens up other people to be real too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think it depends on the type of
relationship.
Yeah, totally.
Relationship with, because I was kind of speaking into like a loose, like someone that maybe you work with but not closely, so you feel like you can say something but you can't. And when there's like not that like deep relation built like on like trust and like probably just like knowledge, then I feel like it's harder to be honest too, because you're not someone that I would share this with typically. So I feel like there can be bounds, but I think the best thing we can do is just to honestly live in freedom of like no one has it figured out. Everyone's living life for their first time, and like that's kind of a cool thing. I used to think that was a terrifying thing, but I don't know. I think where I'm at now,
we're all
like,
living for the first time.
Yeah, just like we're figuring it out. I heard something like be kind to your parents because it's their first time being parents to a this age old person before. And I have to remember that when I have like a frustration with my mom or dad. I'm like, you know what? They've never done this before too. It's not like they were given a different manual than like your mom or your mom. You know what I mean? So it's like truly be kind to yourself, but also to the people around you.
No,
that was a random tangent, but
love that because that's very like, oh yeah. So it's okay. So really, all it comes down to is feel what you need to feel because this is your first time feeling it. This is your first time going through this experience, or maybe your second time, or your third time, or whatever. And no experience is the same.
Yeah.
And
then it's your first time with that other one
the
before.
Second time or whenever or
totally
whatever, and we have to stop equating and trying to equivalate these experiences. And it's like, well, the first time you did fine, and the first time you did this, and you blah blah blah. It's like it's different,
right?
Yeah. It doesn't like why do we don't have to quantify it. It can just exist, and you can feel the way that you need to feel, and that's okay. And we can just talk about it without trying to categorize it.
Do you feel that grace for yourself? Like when you say that, you know what I mean? Can you put that into your situation?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, vocalizing all of these feelings is absolutely necessary. So
helpful.
If you have these feelings, whatever your situation, if you're not speaking them, and I know I've said this before, and I'm quoting Tim Ross, the other person I listen to, if you don't speak your feelings, it comes out of your body physically, whether that's in a different way that you decide to handle that. And maybe that's not a positive way. Maybe that's something negative because you're not allowing those emotions and those feelings to come out. They have to come out. So I kind of talked about this with a friend today for the first time, but I haven't broken everything down. And you guys know me. I shove my bottle full of crap and I stuff it so deep. And I wait till that bottle absolutely explodes before I actually talk about anything. So obviously what you heard tonight was a big old manifestation of 1,000 million things that I crammed into a bottle and decided not to deal with until it all erupted. And I think it's good to just say it. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like, yes, I can hear that for myself. Okay, it's good to just hear my thoughts. Yeah. Sometimes we think our thoughts, but to actually like physically hear yourself say it.
Well, and it's easier different. It's like the dance floor balcony thing of like, I can see and apply things to other people. Like I can see the whole dance floor when I'm standing on the balcony when I'm detached. But whenever it's me on the dance floor, it's harder to like apply these things. You know?
And you just want to evacuate the dance floor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Evacuate the
That's why I
floor.
said
Do you
that.
remember
Thank
that
you so
song?
much for doing that. Yeah.
I knew it was
a
song.
Really?
But I
okay, good.
place it.
Glad I caught on.
Stop this
I literally
beat is
can,
killing me.
Anyway, think of it
Hey,
in my
Mr.
mind.
DJ.
Oh.
Yeah. I was quoting a song.
I don't know who the artist was. Yeah, I think just a good thing to remember, and this is a quote I heard once, that just do the best with information that you have at the time. So it's like tomorrow you're going to have different information about yourself, about your body, and you're going to make a decision in that on that day with all the information that you have. Same with the next. So it kind of you're obviously your life is just you're just continuing with life, duh. But it's just like just do the best at the time with what you have with the information that you have. And honestly, tomorrow might be a different story, and that's okay. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to make a decision. You're going to say something. You're going to think something, and you're going to do the best with the information that you have at the time. Same with the next day. And so I feel like it's like not a like looking back or like I regret this or I don't think that I made this decision wisely. That's okay because you didn't know what you know now. Same with us in 10 years. It's going to be so different looking back on our lives. Now we're going to be almost 40 in 10 years. Think about that.
Why would you say that?
With like, I'm sorry, I know, but I had to, and I am so sorry, but here we go.
It's actually like sick.
Gross.
That's disgusting.
I know. I actually am really sad that I said that.
Did.
That was my. I think I have anything else to say other than that. Mary, you can just bring it down further.
Basically, you're 40. We're all 40.
Basically, we're 40. We're gonna die soon.
So basically, we're all 40 and we know nothing. Yeah.
Do you want me to bring down the mood? Are we doing that?
When I'm sad.
No, I think you should bring it down.
Okay.
I think you should bring it down.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
because even though I say you bring down the mood, actually sometimes my mood is up.
I know.
Sometimes I actually have my
it.
mood be upper than downer.
Okay, good. This one is again not. This is another no choice. Is what we're doing.
I love it. I don't want decisions tonight.
I'm going to say two words, and I want you to. So based on geographic location, people use different terminology for different things. Example.
Put down your phone. You're distracted.
Sorry, I am.
Yeah, you didn't hear anything.
But you know what it's about. You know what it's about because I was asking
I know though
options before he came on.
Yeah.
Sorry to attack you. I didn't realize the full context behind
that's
this
okay.
story.
She was distracted though.
Like,
so
I helped her out, but it's okay. I really was. I was really curious.
So an example of this is like hot dish versus casserole. So I thought it'd be fun for us to say those and then which ones we grew up saying. Or if you've changed, like we all live in different locations that we grew up in, like have you since changed,
Ooh, I love this. Yeah, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
Okay. So let's start with that one. Hot dish versus casserole. I grew up saying casserole and I still say casserole.
Casserole.
Like tater tot casserole.
Yes.
Same.
Ew, who says hot dish?
What region calls it a hot dish?
It's a Minnesota thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Okay.
No, casserole.
Spigot or faucet?
Faucet.
A spigot is outdoors.
Spigot is something outside.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
But some people say spigot for their kitchen sink.
I agree.
Well, they're wrong.
Grab some tap from the spigot. Okay.
You're incorrect.
This one is a little niche, and I think gonna know your answer. Okay. Splinter or sliver?
Ooh, I am so 50-50.
What?
I am so 50-50.
Wait, a splinter
like splinter like a piece of wood in your skin.
Oh yeah.
Some people call that a sliver.
Uh-huh.
Like a sliver of wood?
Noah calls it a sliver and I hate. Okay, I say I hate it, but I think it's kind of cute. It is kind of cute. It's sliver. But I was wait, I've never heard anyone say that before.
Yeah, no, my family totally says.
Okay.
Is that an Iowa thing,
sliver.
I guess?
No. I think so. My dad always said sliver. So I think what we would do
is a Mexican thing.
Noah's
Mexican.
If you have like a big thing in your hand, it was a splinter. If you have just like a little thing, it's a sliver.
Oh, so it's like
I think ours was just
always splinter.
Mama, I got a little sliver.
Mama.
But like, I think I got a splinter today. It's like, ooh, are you okay? But like a sliver is just a little sliver.
Interesting.
That's the best way I can describe it to you. And
Kira, have you ever heard of sliver?
I have. I'm just trying to remember like what context it was in, because I would say that if I was like on those really old wooden playgrounds and I brushed my hand, I would call that a splinter, like in my fingers. But like a sliver of wood, I think of that as actually a big, like a chunk,
almost a slab
of wood. almost
So
as
we're
loud,
kind
but
of
like a part.
we're almost
a
like
sliver of wood.
opposite thinking.
So we're almost opposite.
So you're both
I
wrong.
think
Okay,
I would
moving on.
also say sliver more around my family and splinter more around other people to make sure that I'm universal.
I like that. Okay.
Oh, a little
She's
adaptive.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you say Reese's cup or Reese's cup?
We have thought about this so many times,
Yeah,
you
we
guys,
have.
and I hate that we're even bringing it up.
Yeah, this is taking me.
I know. I'm like
taking me
having
back
like
to
I'm having bad
college.
flashbacks. It's Reese's.
Reese's.
It's
Reese's.
Reese's because there's an
No.
apostrophe. It's Reese's. It's Reese's brand.
But if you listen to that song,
And rationally,
Reese's cup.
no, it's
Reese's
Reese's Puff. Reese's Puff. It's Reese's Puff. No,
No,
oh
it's
my gosh, you
Reese's.
guys, you guys are so wrong.
I will say,
You guys are
Play it.
No, listen,
Casey,
listen,
pull up that
listen.
song.
So
I say
wrong.
Reese's when I'm talking about pieces because it rhymes.
Hold on.
Reese's Pieces.
That's why they named it that.
But if it's a Reese's cup.
I'm trying to.
My hands
look
are
it
over
up
my
because
face.
I need
Come
to
on,
know.
you guys. I remember one time
No,
you
it's
agreed with me rationally, Mare. You know that it's Reese's. He owns
I
Reese's.
get it.
You agreed with me rationally.
Grammatically,
You said
it
I
makes
get
sense.
it, but I'm not
but-
going to say it. That's what
No.
you said.
Grammatically, it makes sense, but I'm not going to believe it.
It's
Right.
Reese's Puff. Reese's Puff.
No.
Peanut butter chocolate flavor.
No.
Don't even come at me.
Reese's Puff.
Reese's
Okay,
Puff.
next
Reese's
one.
Puff.
Okay, I think that must be an East Coast
Soda
thing then.
or pop? I grew up saying soda, but now I say pop now that I live in the Midwest.
And I grew up saying
Or
pop, but I
Coke.
say soda
People-
now that I live in the West Coast.
Yeah, I think Coke is maybe a Southern thing, like people calling
It is.
all soda Coke.
It is. Or like, what kind of
Yeah,
Coke
I've seen
do you
that.
want?
What kind of Coke you want? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like Dr. Pepper.
But again, that's one of those things where I can be interchangeable.
Sure.
Because I remember when I
Yeah.
first moved out here, I said, hey, you guys spilled a bunch of pop in the gym to these kids when I was working. And they're like, what's pop?
Pop.
And then I was like, yeah, they don't say that out here. So I'm a chameleon. That's what I'll say.
I like that.
And I'm universally soda.
You're soda.
I don't say either
Yeah.
or. I'm just soda.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sucker or lollipop? I grew up saying lollipop and I still say lollipop. Sucker is kind of gross. It reminds me of a fish.
I'm kind of 50-50 on
I'm
this one.
50-50.
I would say, well, maybe 51-49. 51 being lollipop. I think if I'm talking about it really casually, I will say a sucker.
Yeah.
Like the little, like if someone has like a sucker on their, like a bowl of suckers on their desk, I'd be like, can I have a sucker?
100%.
But like if I'm, but it's a very like it's like almost slang to lollipop, I think.
Yes. I think the other thing too, like there's a brand called Blow Pop. You guys know that one, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we would actually say, do you guys want a Blow Pop? Like we wouldn't,
Oh.
like we would call it by the
Oh,
brand.
okay.
Okay. Even when you're not talking about a blow pop? Or just when you're
No,
talking
that
about
was
blow
really,
pops?
that was really only reference, but I like
Okay.
Blow Pops they were always on
They
a
are
concession
good.
stand.
They're
like,
so good.
they-
Well,
they just
yeah.
want a
And
Blow
like
Pop.
if you're having a Tootsie Pop, you'd say Tootsie Pop too. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we would call things by brand, but I would probably default to Sucker more
Okay.
than Lollipop. I would say Lollipop is more of like a specialty.
Like the
Sucker.
big swirly ones.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a lollipop. Like, we represent the
The
lollipop.
guild. The lollipop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh.
I respect
I went
that.
to a different song.
Like a lollipop. Is that what you were thinking of?
Yes.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Sneakers versus tennis shoes.
No.
I grew up always saying sneakers, and I still say it.
I'm gonna
Tennis
say tennis
shoes.
shoes. Actually,
Okay.
My family says tenny
hard for
runners is
like
kind of like a
every
joke.
tennis shoes.
I like that.
Oh,
Tenny runners.
that's fun.
But yeah,
I remember I
don't-
said
I don't say
sneakers.
Yeah.
I said
Tennis
sneakers in a preschool to like my class in Kansas, and they were like, "What's a sneaker?" They like didn't know what I was even talking about, and I was like, "What?"
I
Stop.
feel
like,
like
didn't
I
know
almost
what
say
to do.
sneakers when they're more like of a cutesy shoe rather than like a tennis shoe to me is like I could wear this athletically and
Sure. Like
do
an
yes.
athletic-
for a run.
But if I'm
Yeah.
like, look at these cute new sneakers I got, they're like not meant to be worn in athletic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah. I would also say the funny thing about playing tennis actually in college. Is I actually had my tennis
Yes,
shoes.
that's fun.
And then my tennis shoes. But I had to separate. I'm like, where are my tennis shoes? Like I had to like separate the words. But then if I'm just casually being like, where are my tennis shoes? I think of it like my athletic tennis shoes, like my sneakers, I
I
guess.
like that. That's kind of
But different than my actual
Do you still
tennis
think
shoes.
that now?
How
with your
funny.
shoes?
I do have a lot of tennis shoes still left over from college. Just a whole closet full. So I would say, yeah, I separate the two. No, I don't. Not at all. I actually think that in college, they were probably both the same. I don't even think I had official shoes. Balls in the fall. Balls in the fall. So no, I don't actually even refer to tennis shoes anymore because I'm not in any tennis spaces.
Okay.
Maybe my
Pickle
pickleball
shoes.
shoes.
Pickle shoes. Pickle Rick.
Pickle shoes. I hate
Okay,
that.
well, those were the words.
Oh, I didn't know it was our last
Oh,
one.
Okay, well, I do have a couple more, but they're not quite as fun. Or I feel like we're all going to have the same answer. So do you want me to do the rest of them? There's
Well,
four more.
I just needed to know.
Okay.
Like, okay, this is our last
one more. Last one.
Okay.
Crawfish or crayfish?
Crawfish.
Who says crayfish?
I say crayfish. Like we're gonna look.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
We're gonna
one that I
look for
saw.
crayfish
I'm
in the creek.
shocked.
Reese's Puff.
No.
Peanut butter
He's saying
chocolate
Reese's.
flavor.
I think it's listen.
Okay,
listen.
I think it's
No,
one of
listen.
those
Reese's.
situations where it's
Okay,
a blue
it's a
dress or
Laurel.
it's a white dress.
It's a Laurel or Yanny situation.
Okay, hold on. Okay, both of you listen to it oppositely.
Green
Mare,
Needle.
You listen to Reese's. Case, you listen to Reese's. Okay, ready?
I don't hear it. I'm not even gonna. I don't. Reese's Puff.
You said Reese's Puff. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
The thing is, I hear
okay,
Reese's.
There, I was listening for Reese's. I did hear Reese's Puff. I hate to say it, I
Really?
wanted to lie, but I cannot tell a lie. I did hear Reese's, but when I listen for Reese's, I hear Reese's. I think it's a Laurel.
I actually
Yanny
tried to listen.
situation.
That's
I
weird.
literally
Yeah,
tried to
I
hear
think
it for
it is.
Reese's, but I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Well,
I'm shocked. Floored, even. So crayfish.
crayfish. That was our last
Crawfish?
one.
Was that the last one?
Can you tell me
Sorry,
why?
hard back.
Can you tell me why crayfish?
I don't know. That's just like that's what they are. Crayfish. Like we would go like into the creek and look for crayfish. Or crawdad.
crawdad.
What do
Yeah.
Crawdad.
We'd
You
say
call
crawdad
him
too.
craydad?
Crawdad.
No, we'd say crawdad.
Do you see how that doesn't make? Do you see how that doesn't make sense though?
Okay, but that's literally an appropriate pronunciation. That's like a spelling is crayfish. Like
I'm confused both ways. So.
CRAYFISH. I'm Googling it. Yeah. Crayfish. It's a thing.
Do you guys call it milk or milk?
Milk. It has an I.
I say milk. You guys
Okay.
know. I say.
I know
this
some people
weird.
here
I say
in
it
the
weird.
South that say milk.
I say milk. I say milk.
What is yours?
Milk.
You said it
Say it
so
again?
fast. Say it slow.
Milk.
I know.
Milk.
She says it with a short E. Sound.
Milk.
Eh.
It's like an IE almost, like both and.
Milk.
Milk.
A cafe milk?
Well, okay, well, not like that. Coffee milk.
I say milk. I say.
Why
milk.
does that sound so good?
Yeah, it doesn't
Milk.
actually.
I say it with a short
I say milk.
Milk.
I think it's fine as long as you don't say mulk. That one's wrong.
No, that's
I think
gross.
milk-
I also
I think
say,
milk
I also
is
say
okay.
like pillow. Like I would say I pronounce the
Oh,
same
okay.
E in milk. And
I was just
pillow.
gonna
I
ask
say-
that
I say
one.
pillow.
I kind of like that. It's cute.
I don't like. I
Do you say s'mores or s'mores?
No one's gonna agree with you.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Dang it. Okay, Mara wants to go to bed, so
Oh
we
my
love you guys.
gosh.
Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo! That's a bit of a doozy.
Here we are.
Bit of a doozy.
Okay, so first of all, I want to let you guys all know that I'm fine. That I have done a lot of reflecting and a lot of just a lot of I think internal, what's the word that I'm looking for? All I can think of is internal
work?
dialogue, and that's not the
Reflexing.
word I'm looking for.
Growth.
lot of
I don't know.
Introspection.
Yes, that's a great word.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
word.
That's a great word. I have done a lot of introspection on just those feelings, and it is really incredible because at that moment, I never felt more strongly about those feelings, you know? And like, as I was going back and listening to that conversation, it did kind of made me tear up a little bit, remembering how I felt. And it was so genuine, and all those feelings were just so true to me at the time. And I'm not going to say that I'm 100% healed and that time heals all wounds, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. But in terms of growth and how I feel that I've been able to kind of overcome some of the huge insecurities or the biggest fears I had of it, and come out on the other side. And I can confidently say, again, it's February 15th. I was like, why? February 15th.
Can't remember.
I'm really excited to be a mom, and I'm really, really excited to have this baby.
Yay.
So I can say that.
That makes me
now.
really happy to hear.
Yeah.
Not that I ever doubted that you would get
I know.
there.
I
But
know.
yeah, I remember listening to him just being like, "Oh man, like it's gonna be so good,"
Mhm.
you know, like.
Mhm.
But it's so hard to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it is. It is really hard to see that,
Yeah.
and so much time has passed, really, in the sense that like I'm LOLing hard at myself because I was like, my body is going through so many changes, and I was like, like flipping 8 or 9 weeks at that point, and
Yeah.
I'm dying at myself now thinking of how much I hadn't even done anything. And then I'm going to LOL
Yeah.
at myself in another 10, 15
Yeah.
weeks and being like, you
Yeah.
didn't know anything. So it's just funny. Like, I think I've said this before, but it's like when you get an old memory of something, like on Facebook or something, and you're like, ew, why did I ever make that Facebook status? I just want to punch myself in the face. It's a little bit of that, honestly.
Me all the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
A little, like, part of it is like, wow, that's super cringe. But at the same time, I'm like, that girl needed to feel all those feelings. And I'm really thankful that I had a place to say all that and feel confident in that no matter what I said, you guys were going to be like, okay, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. What do you need?
What do you need? How can I help?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I literally yearn for everyone to feel that way and feel like they can have people to go to. And I also just want to say, like, if you feel like you don't have anybody, we're here for you.
Yeah.
Because man, oh man, I can't imagine going through all of those nasty feelings that I was having without you guys. I truly don't know if I would have made it out on the other side. And be able to sit here and laugh at myself now.
Yeah, it's huge.
I'm not like completely laughing at her, but I'm like kind of laughing at her because she's kind of drama a little bit.
Well,
Sorry.
I was gonna ask you what's like one thing looking back that you would tell your 8-week pregnant self now in hindsight.
Take one day at a time. I have this tendency to try to swallow my entire plate at once and just digest it, and just however painful it is, I'm just going to like go through it right now, and I'm going to figure it out. And I don't want to take the time and be patient to process every single bit of my meal. I just want to eat it all in one bite and be on my way and just figure out the rest later. And this has been a really good time.
I'm tracking.
I know it was, and as it was coming out, I was like, I don't know if this makes sense.
No, I get it.
Does
Do you get it?
It's the good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
sorry, I made you doubt
it's just
that.
so like it's just funny with my life because the small details are so annoying to me. Like they're so annoying. Like for me, it's like find out pregnant, have baby tomorrow, raise child. Those are the big points.
Yeah.
Like, and those
Yeah.
are the things I want to figure out. And we talked on the podcast, like you were saying, from the Girl From What We Said podcast. I don't remember her name. Sorry. That she doesn't like being pregnant. And I can still sit here today and say I don't like being pregnant. I don't think this is very fun. And people who enjoy it, good for you. Honestly, good for you. I don't feel that way at all. And I don't think my opinion's going to change on that anytime soon. But I have learned that within every stage, every week that this child is growing and every week that my body is changing, and there's certain things that I have to deal with and be comfortable with, it forces me to slow down and face every single day. And I don't like to do that because I just think of, okay, when's the next big thing that I can get to in life? And let's just get through all the days until I can get to that next big thing. Yeah. And I can't do that right now. And so this has been a big disruption of my life. But it's been a really healthy disruption because it's just forced me to slow down and not fill my entire day full of things that are unnecessary or just because I want to do it. So I don't know. Does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. After my weird analogy?
Yeah. I'm hearing you say like you have
great.
A tendency to like, and I think we all can do this too, of like catastrophizing or like, oh my gosh, this is how it's always going to be.
Yeah.
Like now this is what my life is. True. When in reality, no, that's how it is right now, but one day at a time, you know, you only need to do what you need to do right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I am definitely like,
it's funny.
Go ahead.
It's funny. Like I've seen so many, you know, clips and random things about pregnancy because I have a lot of people in my life pregnant right now. And a lot of it is like, well, it's funny how God made pregnancy like, 9 months. He could have made it like 2 months, 1 month, a lot shorter. But like when you think about it, 9 months is like, it's like a long time, I'm sure, when you're in it. But in hindsight, it can be like, oh, 9 months of your life is not that long. But like, I feel like it's such an intentional way of being like, it's gonna feel like you have to get through it day by day by day to get to the 9 months. And I feel like there's a kind of crazy, beautiful thing in that in and of itself is the actual time that you're going to be pregnant before the child is born. That, just to your point, it seems like it's almost forcing you to be like, you're right, like I do need to just take it a day at a time and not just either, wish to the end, because the end will be here soon enough, but also in the moment be like, this is not how it's going to be forever. Like there will be an end in sight, but for now, what can you do today? So I think what you said was really cool, and like kind of like just in the last couple months, that's what you've seen growth. So in a way, like hopefully that's encouraging to yourself now of like in a couple months, like seeing how you grow all the more, not just physically, but like mentally. That was bad. I'm sorry.
That was worse analogy than mine.
Yeah, that was the worst one. I thank you, and I agree. But I think what you said is really awesome, and I think will be really helpful too for people to hear how your mindset has changed.
Yeah. I think a lot of things have just happened in these past couple months in life too that have just forced me to slow down and just be thankful for every day and every situation, every person I have in my life, the outpouring of love that I have received since, telling people that I've been pregnant has been humbling and so undeserving. Like people love,
that's so sweet.
People have loved Bryce and I so hard, and you don't realize like the amount of people that are in your corner until.
Also, I disagree. So deserving.
Oh, well, thank you.
So deserving.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool because people step up for you, and it's like all those relationships that you've been forming and that you've been, working to cultivate kind of come to, I don't know, they come to a place where they turn around and that love is reciprocated back to you. And it's like, oh my word. Wow. Thank you. But yeah, thanks for, and honestly, like listening back on it, I'm like, I have the best friends in the whole world. Like, who would sit there and listen to their friend weep? That conversation is a lot longer than you guys heard. So these poor girls had to actually sit through me in my disgust for a lot longer.
As soon as
than
Casey
that.
got on, I think Kiera and I both were like, "Oh, we're not talking about beige flags tonight."
Is that what
or
we're
whatever,
gonna
or
talk
whatever
That's
our
what it
topic
was
was. I don't know. Whatever our topic was, I think we were both like, "Okay, we're not talking about this tonight."
No.
And that's,
I mean, I think
that's
in the
fine. That's like what friendship is too, you know, is pivoting and like that we're not in this for like the production. We're in this to like, but the whole reason
Right.
why we have this podcast is literally so that we can like FaceTime once a week.
Yeah.
You know,
With really good sound
Exactly.
quality.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's definitely not video
I mean, I
quality, I'll
think-
tell you that.
No.
Good thing you guys can't see this, actually. Well, I think at the beginning, too, we were like, do you want to talk about it? Do you not? Because you were obviously crying. And I think that was our in of being like, okay, yes, let's like
Yeah.
dive into it. And that was, like 30
I
minutes before
remember
this.
you literally said, do you want to talk about it? And
Well,
you can
you got
hear
on and
me.
you were like, I just need a minute. We can do this. I'm fine. We can do this. And I was like, come on.
Yeah, like that.
that's so me to be like, listen,
Yeah.
I just need to cry for 5 seconds. Let me just like go figure it out. I'm going to pull myself together.
Right.
And
we're
then I'll
like,
be right back.
No.
And
Like, that
yeah, it is
sounds
Put your
awful.
seatbelt on, buckle up.
I know.
We're just going to do this.
And
yeah.
and Kira was just like, is that moment of like, do you want to talk about it? And it wasn't like, and she said it in a very loving way, but it's more of like, you need to talk about this clearly because it is bothering
Right.
you.
Right. I don't
so
want
I'm
to
really
pry
thankful.
right now, but also
I don't want to pry, but also you
Yeah.
obviously need to talk about this because you're kind of a
Right.
disaster. So I am grateful for that too. And I don't think you guys get to hear that in the audio, but you guys are just the best. I'm thankful for you guys.
Oh, we love you through all the
We love
things.
you.
Thanks.
Through
Yeah.
thick and thin. Highs
And we're talking about
lows,
your changing
but-
body.
and
We
your
love you and your
changing
changing
body.
body.
Yeah.
We do. Say affirmations.
Well, Thanks for listening. We've said this before. We want to be as authentic as possible. And so that this is us doing that. So thanks for listening and giving us the space to do this.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And we love to hear from you. We're going to start reading emails again next week. So write in your emails to itsbeenforeverpod@gmail.com. And you can find us on really all the platforms and listen to us, rate, subscribe. We just love hearing from you. So whatever you want to write to us about, any past episode or anything you've from today or whatever, or maybe you just want to tell us your favorite color. We'd love to hear it.
we welcome it all, to be honest.
We welcome it all. So,
yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
guys.
listening, you guys. Making it to the very end.
Yep.
All the way
love you.
to the end of this. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 Bye.